Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yashala, Koholoyimla, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chahakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Achwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Love Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawaf, just coming at you with another quick lesson. Pray that it's edifying by the Spirit. And just want to touch on the fact that these Edomites, the so-called white man, that's their biblical name. They're Salakia, they're not in trouble as other men. They're not in trouble like every other race of people, basically, you know. And especially when it's compared to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they get that little slap on the wrist, but your ass will get life in prison damn near, man. And I was going through some articles, and I think the site is called Law and Crime. I actually have the YouTube channel, and I actually get like notifications as well. So, you know, I was looking through this one article, and I'm looking like, well, damn, you know, well, you know, all this heinous shit is the so-called white man or the so-called white woman, but you don't never really hear about it like that. The most, you know what though? Let me take that back, because nowadays the script has been flipped. I'm not gonna front. The script have been flipped, because you do see a lot of so-called white people on TV these days, because the crimes that they commit are so heinous they can't get away with it no more. It used to just be Negroes plastered all over the TV. Negro done this. It's still that way, but you're seeing a lot more blend of so-called white people that are, you know, on the news these days. Because like I said again, see, these news stations, they'll sell their own people out, you know, just for a good news story. You know, whatever gets more view. It's all about views and likes these days. So they'll sell their own people out to, you know, to get those views and likes. Now, don't get me wrong. You might have one of these school shooters. They'll get to, you know, show him a picture of when he was 3-4 years old and how sweet he was. He was a sweet baby. But, you know, when it comes to the so-called blacks, the same age, if they commit a crime, you know, in the same area or of the same degree, then they'll show this nigga. They're going all through your Facebook posts. They're going to show you every single time he was on there with a, you know, with whatever, you know, clowning, you know, just they're going to show you every picture that they can find that's going to degrade him. But at the same time, when it comes to the so-called white man, they're going to give you that picture. He's in his, you know, prom suit, you know, with the graduation cap and gown and shit on, showing you with the smile on, hugged up with his mom or something, showing you how sweet of a baby he was. But when it comes to you Negroes, they present you as being a savage, man. But I wanted to get some of this video right here. We're going to get just a piece, and this is just for educational purposes only. I'm not getting any monetary value out of it. This is Elder Malcolm out in Chicago from the GMS camp, and he was going off into a video. This is like 2 days ago. It says MSM doesn't share true crime percentages committed by whites in the U.S., and they don't. Well, let's get some of this.
And this Edomite woman is going to go in on all these statistics that prove the opposite of what people think. All right, because you walk into this.
And see, he said this Edomite woman. So this so-called white woman, she's about to go in, right? And I'm going to come back to this law and crime. But she's about to go in on her own people. So let's get that scripture real quick before we go into that. Let's grab Psalm 64 and 8. Because this is where we're at these days. The so-called white man is starting to tell on each other real strong these days. Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. See that? So they're starting to tell on each other. That's why I'm saying a lot of these news stories, the so-called white man don't care about his own people no more. They just care about likes. How many views is this going to get? Because we get commercial money out of this. You know what I'm saying? So they don't care no more. They just letting it, you know, spilling the beans. But let's get some of this. So this so-called white woman, she's about to spill the beans on her own people.
Or certain places, and you know, all the security cameras and security personnel are looking at Jake, but the people that are still in the most is so-called white man. They showed you that in that movie, Don't Be a Menace. All right, but here we go. Let's
Well, it looks like we have Candace Owens in the chat. Buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm about to show you some statistics. And this isn't about being a white liberal. This is about being someone who cares about facts and knows that any of this information is easily accessible through the internet.
right.
This is the United States government's official website. 2019 crime statistics in the United States. Let's look at the total number of crimes right there. Committed by white people, 4,729,290. Committed by black people, 1,815,144. Then let's scroll over here to the percent distribution. White people were arrested and committed 69.4% of crime. Black people committed 26.6% of crime. American Indian or Alaskan Native committed 2.4% of crime, and Asians committed 1.3% of crime. I'm going to give you a quick preview of the kind of crimes that are being committed and by who. So, rape, white people. Robbery, white people. Aggravated assault, white people. Burglary, white people. Larceny, theft, white people. Motor vehicle theft, white people. Arson, white people. Violent crime, white people. Property damage, white people. Other assaults, white people. Forgery, white people. I think you get my point. If you scroll through this list, which again is easily accessible by a simple fucking search of the internet, you will see all other offenses, white people.
And that's not reflected in the daily news, especially in Chicago. Because white crimes, so-called, are not reported in the media in the same light. Because, see, when you control the media, they must always make it look, this is how they keep their property taxes down, their neighborhoods, because the things that are being done by them is not being recorded in the same manner. It's not being pushed to the public in the same manner. All right? So that, like we said, that wrong judgment goeth forth, is not proceedeth. Righteous judgment doesn't proceed.
Okay, so let's clip it right there. Now, the reason how I remembered this, because I watched it 2 days ago, and I was just looking at this, and this is Law and Crime. It's an app that you can get. And I was reading this. It says, judge hands down maximum sentence to Ohio couple who systematically beat, tortured, and starved 8-year-old boy for years. And this is shit that they do. When you hear about stuff like this, the babies locked in cages and shit, and they find them in feces and urine, and just they ribs showing, and they got just the house is filthy as hell. It's these people, man. But look though, I'm not gonna even read the story, because once I got off into it, check out some of these other titles. Now this guy right here, he could be a Jake, but it says, okay, prison nurse. Let me see. Yeah. Either way, it's just crime in America that's just off the damn hook, man. And it's all the so-called white man system that, and just a way of life here that's got people off the hook in this place like this, man. So even amongst the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the crimes that they are committing, it's all a part of America's system where they learn this shit from, which is the so-called white man. But it says prison nurse 25 who was jailed for 6 months over flirtatious calls with manipulative inmate is likely to be isolated behind bars for her own safety. That wasn't one of the ones that I wanted to get. But let's just get some of these titles. Idaho father sentenced to life after 9-year-old son was fatally beaten. And like I said, this might be a Jake right here. Fatally beaten, tortured, and starved. Okay? Let's see what this one says. But see, the percentage is just when I go scroll through it, what you're gonna see is the percentages is basically what this lady was saying. It says, he was your prey. Judge deals 7.5-year sentence to U.S. Capitol rioter who delivered Officer Michael Fanone by his neck to a violent mob. See, so-called white man. And he only got 7.5 years. He should have got way more time for that, man. They should have gave all them motherfuckers the business, man, that was at that Capitol. Okay, here you go. Young Texas man convicted and sentenced for 2021 murder of stepfather who poured a beer on his mother's head. Okay, so there you have that one. Here you go, you got another one. Check this guy out. She was thrown in a hole overnight. Pennsylvania dad allegedly buried 6-year-old daughter alive as part of a barbaric punishment. Look at him. But these are the people, man. Let's go into this one. These are all just, just the same news network, just different stories of, this is how they get down, man. Massachusetts man whose DNA was under fingernails of Google employee pleads guilty to murdering her as she jogged. And he raped her too. You see, it says a 36-year-old Massachusetts man may spend the rest of his life behind bars after confessing to sexually assaulting and killing the 27-year-old woman. See? Here you go. Woman just out here trying to keep in shape and trying to get a jog in. And hey, you women better watch the hell out, man. These men crazy as hell out here. There's some crazies out here, man. Here you go, you bouncing up the street with your cheeks showing. You're not paying no attention. You got them fucking headphones in your head, in your ear. You listening to your favorite song, and this motherfucker is just riding up behind you and lurking. But anyway, another one. Let's go to another. Oh shit, I wasn't trying to come out of it because I wanted to get a few more of these titles. Where's we at? Well, it just kind of flipped on me. Here go another one. I've been good. 5-year-old allegedly pleaded for her life before being killed. And here you go. You see this crazy? She looked crazy as hell too. Yeah, it kind of jumped on me. Let me see what this one says. She could be a Jake. She looked like she could be a Jake. But then again, she may not be. She might be of another nation. It says Nevada woman who blamed recent arrest on being so good looking is now charged with stabbing her mother to death. You gonna look good now. You're gonna look good now. Now this one right here, let's go up. Now this is a Jake right here. She's looking like an Eve. Teen seeks to overturn court ordered $150,000 payment to family of her rapist. See that? Now see, this is how they'll do it, Jake. This is how they'll do you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. She gets raped and she gets charged $150,000 to give to the family, right? It says attorneys for the Iowa teen asked the judge to overturn a portion of the sentence that ordered her to pay $150,000 to the estate of her rapist. That is insane. Yeah, there you go, though. But see, that's showing you that. Matter of fact, let's get that scripture real quick. Psalm 73:3, or 73:5, I think it is. Psalms chapter 73. So you have to realize, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have to realize this is not our kingdom. This is their kingdom. That's the reason why they can do the shit that they do and just get that slap on the wrist. I'm going to start at verse 3. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. See, they're not plagued like us. They're not in trouble like us. You see, they'll run into, a matter of fact, I used to work at the mall years back. It was years back. And it used to be this group of kids used to come in, and it used to be like 5 Edomites, five so-called white boys. And it used to be this one little Jake with them, a so-called black boy with them. And they used to run off into those department stores and run off into the Gap. They used to run into all those stores. And they would come back, and I would see them run into the restroom, and see what they would do was, the attention would be on the so-called black boy while the other 5 so-called white boys was in there stealing. So they would, the cameras, the security watching the so-called black boy. And the meanwhile, those so-called white boys are stuffing their pants with all kinds of shit. And see, that let me know back in the days, like, hey, that's how they get down. See, the so-called white man, they're watching you Negroes, but in the meanwhile, it's the so-called white man. He's the one that's stuffing shit into it. The woman, the so-called white woman, stuffing shit into her handbag, or he's stuffing shit into his coat, or off into his pants, or whatever, man. He's the one that's doing the most stealing. You seen it, lady? She just named off the list. Part of that was forgery. Them the ones that do your biggest bank embezzlements and big embezzlements and shit. As far as taking millions of dollars out of trust funds and leaving people just bare, taking all the retirement funds, Ponzi schemes, all kinds of shit, man. It's them, man. Well, let's go back. Let's see what else they got. Texas seek death penalty for woman convicted of murdering friend. Let's see. And stealing unborn baby. I remember this. So-called white woman. She cut the damn baby. She cut the baby out of the woman's stomach, man. Do you know how brutal you gotta be to be a bitch like that, man? She cut that baby out of that woman's stomach, man. Let's see what else they got. Okay, so they got a Jake right here. But like I said, look at the percentage. The only two Jake basically that you've seen so far, the one was the woman, the so-called teenager that, you know, she got raped and now she's got to pay her rapist. So they let you know, but the percentage of the so-called white people that's committing these crimes is way different from the percentage of the so-called blacks that's committing these crimes. But in the meanwhile, it's more so-called black people in the jails than the so-called whites, percentage-wise. And that was something else that went into the video. I didn't let the video play all the way out, but the lady went into it. She was like, shit, the numbers don't match. She clearly said that 69%, almost 70% of the crimes are committed by so-called white people. But I think the amount of the population that's in jail, I think she said it was like 50% or so. So that's a 20% difference as to, you know, people that should be in jail that's not even going. And then the ones that they are arresting for these heinous ass crimes, they should be getting a damn electric chair or, you know, lethal injection or something. But they, you know, they getting off with life in prison with a possibility of parole, when they should be killed, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll give Jake that business. Okay, it says police suspect, Florida murderer with a hatred for women is a secret serial killer. Yeah, Jake, man. Hey, Jake. That's why I tell you women, man, y'all got to watch out here, man. There's a lot of men that hate women, man, because women during this feminist organizational lifestyle that's been going on out here for decades and fuck so many men over to the point where they just hate women, man. Okay. I think this right here, and this is a percentage as well, because I think this is a Moabite. Yup. Washington State woman escaped after her estranged husband stabbed and buried her in a murder attempt. See? Remember what the lady was saying? Like, I think she said that it was like 1.2% of Asians or something like that that's committing crime. So this is about right when it comes down to this, the scale or the data that she was given in that commercial. I mean, in that particular video. Here we go with another one. See, another Edomite. All of it is pretty much them. Texas juror obliged cop killer who asked him to sentence him to death. Yeah, I doubt if they're going to give him a death sentence, though. I wasn't intending to do that. I wanted to go back into it. There's a few more. But like I said, you know, when you go off into these hookups, what you're going to see is them, man. Here you go. You got another one. Yeah, that's all you seeing is so-called white people. Murder suspect who vanished after her husband was shot to death in his sleep has been arrested in Indiana. Look at her. Edomite. Why you don't see this stuff on the news like that? Here go another one. Let's see what this one says. Accused serial killer pleads guilty to 1 of 5 gruesome murders in which some victims were bludgeoned and dismembered. Look at this dude, man. Edomites, man. Okay, this is one of the cops, the ex-cops from the George Floyd hookup. Let's get this one. Edomites. Rogue nurse murdered 2 patients and tried to kill a third by administering high doses of insulin. See? You got to what, man? And he's supposed to be a damn doctor helping people. Here go another one. Let's get this one. Prison guard boyfriend accused of murdering pregnant prison guard girlfriend by shooting her and leaving her dead at home. See? These motherfuckers is crazy, man. And this one right here, his hair done grown. I seen him today. They had him on the news. His hair is like down his damn shoulders now. I think this was last year when he done that school shooting. Ethan Crumley will admit to murder and terrorism charges in Oxford high school shooting. I'm trying to think, how many people did he kill? Because they've been fucked up there. You know, I live in the same state, but yeah, they've been fucked up. When that boy fucked that whole town up, man. They still fucked up. Man, he got down on them. And the crazy part about it was like I said, they're not in trouble as other men because they had already, his parents had already came to the school earlier that morning, and he had the gun in his backpack, I think, and they allowed this motherfucker to go back to school. They knew he was fucked up and he was mad about some dumb shit. But anyway, but that's them. That's the same one, Oxford shooter. Let's see what this one says. But these are all so-called white people. Desperate gangsters begs to let out a prisoner out of prison's punishment unit after allegedly masterminding the murder of rebel bikey boss or whatever the hell. Anyway, another Edomite. What else we got? This look like this could be a Northern Kingdom right here. Yeah, that look like Northern Kingdom. Trial date rescheduled for man charged with raping 9-year-old Ohio girl who obtained abortion in Indiana. That look like a Northern Kingdom or a Jake, man. But like I said, as you can see, the percentage is about there. Here you go. Well, that was that boy that came up missing, and all of a sudden he just popped up at the house the other day. He been missing for 2 years. A goddamn school teacher is hiding him at her house, you know, because he's dating her daughter. So they know that this boy has been out here supposedly missing for 2 years and some change, and she's been hiding him at her house because he's dating her daughter. Weirdos, man. Man who spent 35 years in jail. In prison, walks free after using Mythbusters. Okay. Boyfriend charged with homicide in Pennsylvania woman's 2018 appearance. But like I said, it's them. Here go another one. Let's see what she's about. Virginia mother charged with murder after 4-year-old dies from ingesting Delta H THC gummies. Look at that. And they out here just sloppy and high as hell these days. The so-called white man done fell off real bad, man. I think this right here, you know, this right here is sounding about white right here. A 14-year-old girl in Florida took $13,500 in cash from her grandma's life savings and gave it out to her classmates. That's Edomite shit right there. That's Edomite shit right there. The so-called blacks are not pulling no shit like that. Okay, we got another Jake. Ex-Army sergeant admits murdering fellow soldier by stabbing him 40 times. So like I said, the percentage is there. Here you go. Oh, this that other lady. She's the one that killed her friend and cut her baby out the stomach. But you see a few Jakes, and like I said, the percentage with these so-called white people is what the lady was demonstrating. You got another serial killer. Look at this crazy looking motherfucker right here. And they're the ones that's out here on the serial killer type shit. Serial killer pals Jeffrey Dahmer and Otis Toole held John Walsh's son captive before his severed head was found. Now this guy right here, that's the reason why he do what's the TV show that Missing? See, look at this motherfucker, man. Incredible. Yeah, they hurt that man. You can tell that man every time I see him. You see that TV show, I think it's called Missing or something like that. I think it's, you know, it'd be like Missing or some shit. But he the one that came. That show been out for a long time. You know, even when I was a kid. Well, let me see. They got one more. I think this is the same lady. She was set on fire by her boyfriend. Her hospital bed testimony months before she died led to his conviction. And this is the lady right here, if I'm not mistaken. This is her. Fucked her ass up. She was buried. She was burned alive and testified on her own murder trial. See? Fucked her ass up, man. Breathing out the neck. But see, like I said again, it's the so-called white man. He's the one that's out here committing all these heinous ass crimes. But in the meanwhile, all you see is a nigga on TV. Like, we're just the worst people on the planet. But they're not showing that it's them. And then when you really think about it, if we're the minority, if we're supposedly 12%, 13% of the population, how is it that we can be, how can we have more crime amongst ourselves than them? That don't even make no sense. If it's only like 40 million or 50 million of us here, America supposedly have about 350 million people. So the other 300 million people, that's gotta be at least 250 million of them gotta be so-called white people. So how is it that, you know, they can make it seem as if we're the ones committing the most crimes? The math don't add up. See, they'll get to talking like you the minority, but you're the majority in the crime. No, the fuck we're not. But anyway, I just wanted to just touch on that, man. Hey, realize who you're dealing with. You're dealing with a cunning hunter. They put out they always talking about misinformation, but they're the main ones that push misinformation. That's just like these small hatters that's after Kanye right now. They fucking that boy up, man. They fucking that boy up, man. They taking everything from that boy, man. I was just looking at, they won't even let his little Donda basketball team play at a tournament or something like that. You got these basketball players, football players, I think he's got Donda Entertainment, or Donda, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Those guys are pulling out, those his football players, basketball players. Everybody is leaving this man. So, hey, but the scriptures talks about you can tell who your friends are when you're going through some shit. That's how you can really tell who your friends are. That's how you can tell who's really down with you. See, a person is down with you as long as you're doing well. You can't tell who a real friend is if you're not going through any adversity. But when you're going through adversity, you can tell, because if they down with you, they gonna stick around, man. They gonna help you out. But if they've never really been down, they gonna book up when shit get hot. But anyway, with that, I pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwam Yashala.